Good morning, everyone, and happy almost Earth Day. I'm so glad you're here because this will be an exciting service where we celebrate the beautiful Earth. I've been involved in climate action for several years now, so I hold this service close to my heart as it is very special to me. It is also an embodiment of our seventh principle, which is respecting the interdependent web of existence, the center of which is our Earth. I'd like to welcome you this morning to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada, where our mission is to grow together in love, faith, justice, and joy. My name is Carrie DeBarger, and I'm so grateful to be your worship associate on this wonderful April day. We have asked everyone to stay at home and view or hear us on your personal devices via this Zoom call. Know that we still welcome all to be part of our community, regardless of racial identity, age, economic circumstances, immigration status, sexual orientation, or gender identity, because it is important now more than ever to come together, accept people, and be kind to those around you. And of course, since we are on Zoom, we can welcome people from near and far to join us. If this is your first time at a UUFNN service, welcome to our community. Feel free to contact our office or visit our website for more information and use the link in the chat to fill out a newcomer form. You can sign up for our newsletter to stay up to date on all the activities here at UUFNN. You may notice on the top of your screen, there's a speaker or gallery view option. I think we all have it dialed in by now, but just as a reminder, you can switch back and forth throughout the service to view as you like, and you'll remain muted throughout, but you can make comments in the chat box, specifically during joys and concerns. And as a courtesy to those speaking and performing in the service, we ask that you refrain from chatting too much while someone is speaking or performing. For today's service, please have your chalice at the ready. And immediately after the service, we will open breakout rooms for virtual coffee hours in small groups. Once again, thank you for being with us.
Now the call to worship. For the beauty of the earth, this spinning blue-green ball, yes, Gaia, mother of everything, we walk gently across your back to come together again in this place, to remember how we can live, to remember who we are, to create how we will be. Gaia, our home, the lap in which we live. Welcome us.
Flame of fire, spark the universe that warmed our ancestral hearth. Agent of life and death, symbol of truth and freedom, we strive to understand ourselves and our earthly home.
Hello and good morning. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Bill Miller, or in this context, Bodie Bill Miller. My personal pronouns are he, him, his. My personal passions are climate, justice, and spirituality. My talk today, Earth Day, Every Day, will be in 3 acts, briefly covering my evolution as an unlikely climate activist. I'll end each section with a video of a song I wrote during that phase. First, a little context. I was born at the beginning of the post-war baby boom, and to the extent I grew up, it happened in Southern California. I say that because in those days, this pastoral region of orchards, fields, and farms was being torn asunder for housing tracts. And everyone, it seemed, had come from somewhere else to reinvent themselves amid the unprecedented affluence of the 1950s. It was like living in a movie set that appeared substantial but had no roots, no past. And the crowning achievement of that era materialized less than 3 miles away from my house when I was just 7 years old, in a clearing amid the orchards of Orange County, Disneyland. For me, growing up there, life was a fantasy that could manifest any way you dreamed, all within an apparently limitless cornucopia. As if by magic, things appeared in stores and disappeared into trash bins, only to be replaced by more and better things. And the acquisition of more and better things was the true, even patriotic meaning of the pursuit of happiness there. The fact that I wasn't actually very happy had to be my fault, my problem, really my shameful little secret. How could I possibly be unhappy? Then the 60s arrived and I was rudely awakened. Our environment was being destroyed. Our military was out of control, ensnaring my generation against its will as it came of age for a senseless war. The consumer culture I'd innocently and fervently embraced was revealed to be a moral fraud. And so I rebelled, at least somewhat. I moved into an ashram for a year to deconstruct the material myths of my childhood. But even after that, my established consumer self continued to battle with my emerging spiritual self for decades. Literally until 1996, when I sat with my mother as she died of cancer. That unexpectedly transcended experience led me to embark upon a surprising new calling, end-of-life spiritual care. And that led me to enroll in a small wisdom school founded by the radical feminist former Catholic priest Matthew Fox to earn the graduate units required for certification as a chaplain. An unexpected byproduct of that choice was my introduction to the writings of Thomas Berry, Bill McKibben, and others, and the gut-wrenching realization that we as a global society were sleepwalking to an environmental apocalypse sooner rather than later. Some of you may recall that after a brief appearance in the 1980s, global warming had been unceremoniously discarded into yesterday's news dumpster, where it continued to fester unnoticed, except by a few insignificant climate prophets. Yet their evidence was unimpeachable. Clearly, we had to wake up soon or sentence our grandchildren to die an unimaginable, horrific nightmare from which they could never awaken. And that led to this song. People talk when things are going on. It's a shock when things turn badly wrong. Wires squawk, complacency is gone. But sometimes you don't hear nothing. But sometimes you don't hear nothing. Twisters turn and local folks despair. Fires burn much hotter when they flare. Typhoons churn, their rage it fills the air. But sometimes you don't hear nothing. Yeah, sometimes you don't hear nothing. Well, we got our own wires, we got our own brains to analyze beguilers and the spells that they proclaim. People, they arise and their battle's just begun. But sometimes you don't hear nothing. But sometimes you don't hear nothing. Well,
Black blood clogs our asphalt arteries. Toxic fogs, our children cannot flee. Burning bogs, our world's in agony. But sometimes you don't hear nothing. Yeah, sometimes you don't hear nothing. Well, we got our own wires, we got our own brains to analyze beguilers, the enchantments they proclaim. Temperatures are rising, the battle's just begun. But sometimes you don't hear nothing. But sometimes you don't hear nothing. Talking men, their silence all aglow. Writing pens, no words of truth will flow. Then again, distraction is the show. So you know you don't hear nothing. But the people arise and their battle's just begun. Don't believe they rise for nothing. Don't believe they fight for nothing. Don't believe you can't change.
Now it is the time for the UUFNN offering. Since we're not physically together to pass the basket, you can give virtually by texting the number 73256 with the message UUFNN and then following the instructions to provide your offering. You can also contribute by mailing a check to the office at 780 Del Monte Lane, Reno 89511. Of course, the slickest and cleanest way to donate is to sign up for automatic giving. You can contact the office and Carol will give you the automatic draft authorization form. You can also include our April Share the Plate recipient, My Journey Home, in your offerings. The purpose of My Journey Home is to help persons exiting prison as well as returning veterans re-enter the community and their families. Returning veterans have similar needs as those exiting prison, including drug and alcohol addiction, post-traumatic stress disorder, and related issues. Helping these individuals with training, drug and alcohol counseling, and employment means that the cycle of hopelessness and uncertainty can be broken. Employment assistance is a priority of this organization. This includes assisting with interviewing skills, resume writing, and job search skills. They work to support clients involved in the criminal justice system to help them avoid returning to prison or becoming homeless. This organization works with parole and probation to provide services needed to help clients comply with conditions of release. And it also helps clients qualify to regain custody of children separated from them who might be in foster care. You can designate on your check or in your giving by text. To provide multiple donations, click the Add Another Fund button. And when contributing to Share the Plate via the text, be sure to use the drop-down arrow to select My Journey Home if that is where you would like your donation to go. Thank you for your generosity. I have grown up in this congregation, and I know it is a safe place for me to express my beliefs and be heard and respected. Being a part of UU has shaped me into who I am today and opened my eyes to a world of opportunity. And I hope to continue to be an active member of our congregation for many years to come. For this reason, it is so important to me that we keep the UUFNN up and running. It is in these hard times when the strength of our congregation shines through. Now let the offering begin. Please join me now in the dedication of the offering. To the work of this fellowship, which is helping more people grow in love, faith, justice, and joy, we dedicate ourselves and these our offerings.
Thank you, Carrie and Bill. Let us now return to my climate crisis saga. As I awakened to the impending catastrophe, I'm embarrassed to admit I naively assumed our leaders would not allow such a thing to happen. I simply found it inconceivable that responsible adults, the smartest people in the room, would not act responsibly. But then the Kyoto Protocol was passed in 1997 and nothing much changed. Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth came out in 2006 to great fanfare. Nothing much changed. The Copenhagen Accord was implemented in 2009 and nothing much changed. Paris Climate Agreement was adopted in 2015, and yet global carbon emissions continued to rise year after year, all but ignored by the media. As I slowly realized the inconceivable was in fact relentlessly happening before my eyes, and the adults were in fact behaving like children, I reluctantly decided to engage in something I had no desire to engage in: climate involvement. Why would I want to do that? I had much more interesting things to do with my life, but no more. I began meeting with a fledgling 350 Spokane group, a chapter of 350.org started by Bill McKibben, 350 parts per million being the highest concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere before climate begins to enter an unstable realm. Turned out this group had Xeroxed a carbon timeline from some scientific publication as the centerpiece for their tabletop display. It was an indecipherable jumble of lines and captions. Because of my background in graphics, I volunteered to make a simpler version that would be easier for people to grasp, and that led to this, which, as I absorbed its implications, deepened my climate concern into a full-blown panic. As you can see, the chart covers 800,000 years. Up until just the last 260, atmospheric CO2 varied between 175 and 300 parts per million. Then, since the dawn of the industrial age, which began the mass burning of fossil fuels, it has shot straight up, accelerating like a rocket, blasting right off the chart. Shortly after that profoundly disturbing realization, my wife and I decided to return to Reno for retirement. Lumbering down 395 in our U-Haul caravan, and to my utter dismay, we entered a city that had doubled in size in just 12 years. A city in the desert. Sprawl was everywhere. Traffic was overwhelming. Everything seemed incessantly urgent, accelerated, expanding in all directions like some cancerous tumor metastasizing before my very eyes. And so, facing the world's apparent indifference to this coming cataclysm, I fell headfirst into a full-blown despair, a semi-functioning depression, which led to this song.
3, 2, 1, and. The sun kissed the horizon, setting all the sky ablaze. So even hues forgotten burst in dazzling displays. 16 million colors of pixelated majesty, there for witnessing the final days of history. Witnessing the final days of history. Let's go back about 10 millennia, start at the beginning. The ice of old ones melted at the dawn of a new sky. Our blossoming unfolded, dreaming it could never die. Yes, death it seemed was conquered, only rising up to be. Witnessing the final days of history. Witnessing the final days of history. Can you hear? Can you see? Caught up in the carnival and every new attraction. Or are you just like me? Lost in your delusion, stoned on the drug of distraction. Was it a fluke of nature that we came to be at all? As angels trapped in animals that rise up just to fall. Our senses are extended, yet we still can't seem to see. We're witnessing the final days of history. Witnessing the final days of history. But can you hear? Can you see? Caught up in the carnival and every new attraction. Or are you just like me? Dazzled by delusion, stoned on the drug of distraction. I wonder, was it written, or did this just come to pass? A genius unleashed that takes its whole world down en masse. The mystery's elusive, any meanings lost on me while witnessing the final days of history. Witnessing the final days of history. Or we can awaken now. Or we can awaken now. We can awaken now. We can awaken now.
Cheery, huh? Well, I can't leave you there now, can I? Nor myself for that matter. When you hit bottom, you can only go up or remain splattered on the pavement, I suppose. Fortunately, with a lot of patient support from my wife, I began to slowly re-engage. It wasn't easy. First, there was no 350 group in Reno, so that was a dead end. Worse, I couldn't seem to find any other climate group, even after reconnecting with UU. So in desperation, I made a sign and began fasting for climate awareness by the Truckee River across from the hub on Saturdays. I attracted more flies than people, so it was clearly not making any impact beyond messing with my metabolism. But sometimes acting out ill-conceived notions mysteriously shift things in other realms. Somehow Jeff Carlton got wind of what I was doing and began fasting for the climate too. We joined up, moving to Friday afternoons by City Hall in alignment with Greta Thunberg's Fridays for Future. A few more people joined and we continued meeting weekly and waving our homemade signs until COVID pushed us off the sidewalk and into Zoom. Finding ourselves locked into virtual space, we then created Climateers on Instagram, a site for information and sometimes entertaining posts to motivate our small following and to keep engaged and active. We figure every little bit helps. Meanwhile, Reverend Karen had directed me to the local Citizens Climate Lobby chapter, which opened up for me a practical path to an elegant solution to reduce carbon emissions. On an even more positive note, America had an election that held up, barely, in the face of an unprecedented campaign to overthrow it. And just as miraculously, climate science reemerged in tatters from the dank partisan cellar where it had been chained, beaten, and starved for 4 years. Overnight, hope became viable again. Paradoxically for me, that puts us at the most dangerous part of my story. Although hope is necessary for survival, it can also inspire complacency, an artificial, apathetic, self-satisfied serenity. Because hope in this instance is not an end in itself, but what inspires the drive to fight on for ourselves, our families, our communities, and for the world we depend on, not only to survive, but to thrive. Authentic hope inspires action. Listen, this transition was not going to happen all by itself, not in time anyway. Even with President Biden returning to the Paris Accords and pushing a bold green infrastructure plan, it will not be enough. It will not happen fast enough. The facts are clear, stark, and remorseless. If we do not collectively engage to accelerate these changes, we will lose. And civilization, as we have known it, will irreversibly descend into inconceivable chaos. This is not hyperbole. Just look around at the catastrophic storms and wildfires, or record-setting heat waves and droughts that in just the past few years have become commonplace. If we do not collectively force the change required, this will just be the beginning. So since we must engage, like it or not, and me personally, I don't much like it, then let's go out on a rousing fight song, a video that features members of our own UUFNN choir. And let's hope it inspires you to do what must be done. There are countless ways to engage. Follow Climateers on Instagram. Check out the Citizens Climate Lobby or the local chapter of Al Gore's Climate Reality Project. If you can afford it, donate. If you can't, find other ways to contribute. There is much to do and little time left to do it. So let's join together and get this done.
We can change if we want to. We can change if we want to. We can change if we want to. It's up to me and it's up to you. Typhoons churn and fires blaze. Shakes our faith in coming days. There are things that we can do. It's up to me, it's up to you. Dark days now are here. Dark days now are here. There is much to fear. There is much to fear. Systems breaking down. Systems breaking down. Apathy abounds. Apathy abounds. Yet we can take a stand. We can take a stand. Stand up and demand. Stand up and demand. Change without delay. Change without delay. To thrive a new way. To thrive a new way. Yes, we can change. We can change. If we want to. If we want to. Be the change. Be the change. If we want to. If we want to. Lead the change. Lead the change. If we want to. If we want to. It's up to me and it's up to you. We can win. We can win. We want to. If we want to. Start again. Start again. If we want to. If we want to. Go all in. Go all in. If we want to. If we want to. It's up to me and it's up to you. It's up to me and it's up to you. It's up to me, and it's up to you.
Now is the time to share our prayers and concerns in the chat box. May they be held by our fellowship with grace and compassion, and may healing and hope begin anew.
The inner light is beyond both praise and blame. Like unto space, it knows no boundaries, yet it is right here with you, ever retaining its serenity and fullness. It is only when you seek it that you lose it. You cannot take hold of it, nor rid yourself of it. While you can do neither, it goes on its own way. You remain silent. You speak, and it is silent. You remain silent, and it speaks. Yet the gate of heaven is wide open, with not a single obstruction before it. That by Yang Chia, a 7th century Chinese Zen master.
Just a couple of quick closing announcements. I just wanted to say thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the service as much as I did. I thought it was really special. And I will definitely have Bill's song stuck in my head all day. Please watch your email for news about programming and the upcoming services. We are going to have a couple quick announcements from Kristen, Rosalind, and Adrian. And then after that, you will be invited to stay on for coffee hour in breakout rooms, if you please.
I wanted to draw your attention to our anti-racism series that we have promised to be offering to you. We're calling this 3-workshop series, Creating a Culture of Anti-Racism at UUFNN. And it will be starting in May. You might have seen an earlier date that had it starting this coming week, and we decided to postpone just to do a little bit more preparation to make sure we're fully prepared for all 3 pieces of this. So please still sign up. The registration link is in the e-announce. We will still be offering this anti-racism series in 3 parts, and you'll get all of the information you were hoping for about recognizing microaggressions and how we can work to be an anti-racist culture at UUFNN. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew that if you've already registered, it'll be starting just a little bit later than we had thought. But we'll still be going with it, and we hope that everyone will attend.
Hi, everyone. I believe I'm next, but I'm not sure if anyone can hear me. I can't
We
see
can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay, good. I have another announcement to make this week, very different from last week. And this time it's about our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, Kristen Famula, who we just saw on the screen a second ago. I have some exciting news about her. As you may know, Kristen is a longtime Unitarian Universalist, being dedicated in a UU congregation in Oklahoma when she was 7 years old. Ever since then, she's been committed to Unitarian Universalism and has been actively involved in UU congregations around the country. She decided at a young age that she would probably become a UU minister and actually went to college with that in mind. During an internship in college, she spent 4 months as a religious education coordinator and also discovered a call to peace building, eventually pursuing a master's in peace and conflict studies and working for many years straddling religious education and peace building work. Finally, about 3.5 years ago, she had a realization that she could no longer avoid the call to ministry and jumped into pursuing this in earnest. For the last 3 years, she has been attending ILIF School of Theology towards a Master of Divinity and will finally graduate in June. As you know from Reverend Karen's journey, the MDiv is just part of the work to answer the call to ministry. After she completes her MDiv, Kristen will spend the next year completing the UUA's required reading list, which currently stands at over 100 books, and working on her packet of materials while still working with our congregation. After that, she will pursue her internship requirement and finally will have her interview in front of the Ministerial Formation Committee. In a couple of years, we hope to be celebrating her ordination. So I just wanted to remind you all that we will celebrate Kristen's achievement and also Reverend Karen's achievement in receiving her full fellowship from Unitarian Universalist Association on Saturday, May 1st at 2:30 outside at the fellowship, socially distanced and with masks, of course. You're encouraged to bring a chair if you would like to. Board member Kathleen Cook and her sister Valerie Cook are organizing the event. They have great party credentials, so it promises to be fun. So I hope you'll all be able to come. I think we may also get to see Kristen's little one, now I believe nearly 9 months old, Matilda, because of course, as well as her other accomplishments, Kristen is now also a mum. So anyway, many congratulations, Kristen, on receiving or nearly receiving your MDiv.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Adrian Fisher. I'm a member of your Board of Trustees, and I'm also chair of the Talso Memorial Fund for Social Justice. And I have a special, exciting announcement this morning that is very fitting for our Earth Day topic today, and that is that we have our next Talso speaker scheduled, and she will be with us very soon. In case you are new to UUFNN, Bobby Talso was a very long time cherished member of UU, and she passed away a number of years ago, but she left us a great legacy. And that legacy is that we have a fund to bring in social justice speakers. Bobby's passion was pursuing and improving and understanding the human condition, regardless of the status of any person's life. And we will be honored to host Beverly Harry. She is a Plan Native American community activist. She's also founder of the River Justice Project, and she's a resident of the Pyramid Lake Paiute Reservation. And she will be speaking to us about our interconnectedness with the river, with the Truckee River, and how our current development practices and our unhoused populations who are finding their way to the river to call it a home now, and our continuing lack of consistent care for the river have really changed the dynamics, and our beloved Truckee River is suffering. And so we encourage you to come via Zoom or Facebook Live and use the link that you used to come to services on Wednesday, April 28th at 6:30 to hear Beverly's powerful message and learn some ways that as UUFNN, we can continue to take care of our river. So we'll see you on Wednesday, April 28th. There is a link, I think, in the chat, and it will also be on the e-blast, but all you will need to do is hop on to our usual services link and Beverly will be there. Wednesday, the 28th. Thank you all. Happy Sunday.
Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the infinite peace to you. May it be so.